Little People, Big World's Roloff family farm drama. Everything we know about Matt and Zach's feud. Who owns it? More. He found it. I was pregnant with twin boys. I wasn't focused on land. Amy exclusively told in November 2021 of the acreage. But we had a very lovely piece of property. I miss that space. Following their split, Amy sold her portion of the land to Matt. Over the years, the TLC personality's love of the farm remained strong, hosting family weddings and serving as the backdrop for their annual fall photo. It even housed Amy and husband Chris Marek's August 2021 nuptials farm fiasco. Matt Roloff and ex-wife Amy Roloff have had many highs and lows surrounding Roloff Farms, but the future of the property has caused the biggest problems to date. The Little People, Big World stars, who were married for 27 years before their 2015 separation, purchased land in Hillsboro, Oregon when Amy was pregnant with their twin boys, Jeremy and Zach Roloff. They welcomed their eldest sons in May 1990. As their family grew, Amy and Matt welcomed daughter Molly Roloff in 1993 and son Jacob Roloff in 1997. The farm and its pumpkin patch festivities also bloomed. Matt alleged, "My twin boys decided not to consider working together toward a possible joint sale. Both of them, along with their growing families, had moved on to other interests and investments." Zach, however, called out his dad via social media in May, claiming that Matt's post about his twin boys not wanting the farm is extremely misguided and false. The father of three wrote, "This post is a new shocking low of cowardice and manipulation of his family and kids for his own gain." That same month, Season 23 of Little People, Big World premiered on TLC and touched upon the drama between father and son over the land. "Me and my dad talked a lot over the summer about what this would look like," Zach said during the May 17 episode. "My dad definitely was encouraging the conversation. Unfortunately, Roloff Farms' expansive property has also caused friction with the family, especially after Matt opted not to sell off part of the land to son Zach in 2021. Instead, the patriarch revealed in May 2022 that he listed 16 acres of the Oregon space for sale, claiming his boys didn't want it. It's a tiny bit scary, but mostly exciting. It's time to move toward the next season of life," Matt wrote via Instagram on May 12, announcing the sale. 3 days later, the San Francisco native further explained his decision to let go of some of the land, claiming, "My ultimate hope was that the entire Roloff Farms property would stay in our family for generations to come. Keeping that dream alive at this point in time was just not meant to be." Matt Roloff's daughter-in-law subtly trashes him for selling Roloff Farms when the duo reconvened. However, things didn't go as planned. "So finally, me and my dad decided to make a meeting, so his girlfriend, Caryn, Chandler, and my wife, Tori, came as well to help the process along, but things did not go well. It was bad." Matt, for his part, claimed during the episode that Zach came in real hot. "He didn't come in to negotiate, he came in to demand." Scroll down for a complete breakdown of the Roloff family's ups and downs over their Oregon farm. Although Little People, Big World is currently off the air, Matt Roloff still faces heat for his decisions surrounding the family farm. As LPBV viewers watched in Season 25, the fate of Roloff Farms became a major topic of contention. Matt's ex-wife, Amy Roloff, felt their 4 kids, Jeremy, Zach, Molly, and Jacob, should inherit the farm, as did most LPBW viewers. The drama surrounding Roloff Farms continues, but Matt had other plans. He wanted to sell the farm to make a profit rather than pass it on to his children. Matt's decision caused a major tiff between him and one of his eldest sons, Zach, which played out on the small screen. Although the rest of the Roloff siblings no longer film for LPBW, some of them have taken to social media to share their opinions about losing out on the farm. Most recently, Jacob Roloff's wife, Isabel Sophia Rock, subtly threw shade at her father-in-law on TikTok. Isabel's response read, "We can't afford to fully buy it from Matt, but we do love living here while we can, and Jacob takes good care of it." Isabel's TikTok was flooded with comments from LPBJ viewers who denounced Matt's decision to sell the farm rather than keep it in the family. Isabel, who lives in Matt's former double-wide on Roloff Farms with her husband, Jacob, posted a video of Jacob working on the farm. Along with the video, Isabel uploaded a screenshot of a question from a fan on social media who asked, "Plans to take over the farm?" Mon, such critic wrote, "I keep saying the kids paid for that farm. Paul only watched because of the kids. They paid for it with their childhoods." Isabel replied to the comment with a clapping hands emoji, signifying that she wholeheartedly agreed with the sentiment. Another TikTok user said, "I really wish she would just split it up between the kids instead of selling it." Rather than expressly state her views throughout the rest of the comment section, Isabel suggested she was on board with her followers' opinions about Matt. In response, Isabel stated, "Same." Isabel also liked another follower's viewpoint. "Why would he make the kids pay for the land when I'm assuming they will inherit that money back anyways?" Isabel also liked a question that asked, "What's the point of building generational wealth if you're just going to keep it from the people you build it for?" Jacob stepped away from filming LPBJ in 2016. Since then, he has opted to remain out of the limelight and doesn't share much about his personal life with LPBJ viewers. Despite sharing the early years of his life with millions of TLC viewers, Jacob doesn't receive royalties or residuals for the time he invested in reality TV, as Isabel confirmed in another comment. Jacob Roloff addresses contradictions of living on family farm. After leaving LPBJ, Jacob Roloff isn't too bothered by what others think about his living situation. On Sunday, March 30, Roloff addressed the so-called contradictions of living on his family's farm after leaving their reality series, Little People, Big World. Contradictions air sharpening, Roloff, 28, wrote via Instagram. "This spring marks 10 years since I got my money from the show I was on for over 10 years of my life. I was 18 and finally had the agency to not sign the contract, so I didn't, and promptly left home, mostly due to disgust for the show and reality TV in general." He continued, "I used that money to build my world back again with my wife, rather than capitalize on it for all it was worth, for better or worse. Now, I am grateful to live here Roloff Farms as an adult with my wife and son, growing things and stewarding the land," Roloff wrote. "Raising my own kiddo, doing the same things I used to do on the farm. Certainly, it has been insightful these last 4 years in a lot of ways, both materially, learning equipment operation, my own growing style, the systems for farming, etc., and retrospectively, what is the farm without a TV crew? What can the farm be without TV?" Roloff pointed to various moments in the year that are especially important to his family's farm. "Pumpkin season is no doubt still huge for us, and we appreciate those loyal folks who make it out every year," he wrote. "Looking forward to this upcoming season and more years to come. On that note, my dream would be that our farm can encourage a more localized community space, instead of so heavily relying on out-of-town tourism. It has been fun meeting people from all over the world, but I'd also love to meet some more of our neighbors here in Oregon." He also looked ahead to the future and shared a few of his goals. "What I want to do for as long as I'm able is to emphasize and deepen a reform back to community-based agritourism," Roloff added, "to contribute positively socially by growing edible food for the community and being an intermittent space for community gathering, creating useful things, and being a useful space. Farmland is sacred now, especially in a world of nearly lost topsoil and diminishing nutrient density in our foods," he continued. "And on a larger scale, with farmland all over the country being bought and developed, I am grateful for the opportunity to be where I am to steward this land the best I can." always learning and growing. I can only hope we have this farm for another generation. Roloff left his family series Little People, Big World soon after he turned 18 in 2014. In December 2020, his wife Isabel Sofia praised her husband after he said he had been molested while filming the show. When Jacob and I started dating, I got a taste of what being in the public eye means, the artist, 24, wrote via Instagram in December 2024. It was eye-opening to see that when you are in the public eye, you can't just post whatever you want anymore, because whatever you put out there would usually be followed by a tabloid or a blog talking about it, she continued. Not only that, but you'd also get hundreds of comments from strangers about your life, and their opinions on it. This gave me anxiety, still does. But I noticed Jacob was curiously calm about it. I remember reading a few awful comments one day, and being the sensitive being I am, thinking to myself, how does he do this? So I decided to ask him. Jacob, how does none of this bother you? Isabel added. And his response will never leave me, because it showcases the type of grounded, strong, and solid person he is and always has been. Well, it simply doesn't bother me because I know who I am, and they don't. So let them talk. You are the most self-assured person I know, and I am in awe of you. You are free, my love. I am so proud of you. TLC was just informed about an alleged encounter that occurred years ago involving a third party connected to the production of Little People, Big World, TLC said in a statement. We are saddened and troubled by this very serious allegation, and TLC will work cooperatively with the authorities. Our main focus remains on supporting the Roloff family during this very difficult time. Jacob Roloff expresses disgust for Little People. Big World. Jacob Roloff is speaking out 10 years after he walked away from filming reality TV. Former Little People, Big World star stopped filming on TLC in 2016, and he has never turned back. These days, Jacob has traded in sharing his life on the small screen for a much more private life in Oregon with his wife, Isabel, and their son Mateo. Jacob doesn't typically share as much of his personal life online as some of his siblings. But over the weekend, he decided to open up about his experience filming for Little People. Big World. The 28-year-old shared a carousel of photos depicting himself, Isabel, Mateo, and some of their pets enjoying life on Roloff farms. In his caption, Jacob reflected on filming for LPBW a decade ago. Contradictions are sharpening, he began. This spring marks 10 years since I got my money from the show I was on for over 10 years of my life, he continued. I was 18 and finally had the agency to not sign the contract, so I didn't, and promptly left home, mostly due to disgust for the show and reality TV in general. As Jacob explained, he used the money from TLC to build a life with Isabel, rather than capitalize on it for all it was worth. For better or worse, Jacob shared that it's been insightful living on Roloff farms, doing work on the farm, and teaching Mateo some of the same things he learned growing up there as a child. These days, Jacob has focused on what the farm is and can be without film crews around. He expressed that he'd like pumpkin season to include more local guests, rather than so heavily relying on out-of-town tourism. Jacob said that he wants to focus on community-based agritourism for as long as possible, growing food for local residents, and is hopeful that it will remain that way for years to come. I can only hope we have this farm for another generation. He concluded his caption while Jacob lives in his dad, Matt Roloff's former double-wide. He does not own any part of the farm. Rather than keeping the farm in the family and passing it down to his children, Matt chose to list it for sale, a move that hasn't sat well with his family or LPBT viewers. Recently, Jacob's wife, Isabel, subtly took aim at Matt on social media. She admitted to her TikTok followers that she and Jacob couldn't afford to purchase the farm. Additionally, Isabel agreed with LPBD fans who felt Matt should have kept the farm and the family rather than selling out. Isabel used a clapping hands emoji in response to one follower's comment, implying that she wholeheartedly agreed with the sentiment. The comment read, "I keep saying the kids paid for that farm. Paul only watched because of the kids. They paid for it with their childhoods." Little People, Big World's Jacob Roloff reflects on his life 10 years after leaving the show. Jacob Roloff reflected on his life 10 years after leaving TLC's reality series Little People, Big World, and said the contradictions were sharpening. "This spring marks 10 years since I got my money from the show I was on for over 10 years of my life. I was 18 and finally had the agency to not sign the contract, so I didn't, and promptly left home, mostly due to disgust for the show and reality TV in general," Jacob, 28, wrote alongside a carousel of photos shared to Instagram on March 29. He added that he used the money to build a world with his wife, Isabel Rock. Jacob and Isabel, 29, welcomed their son, Mateo Toms, in December 2021, and the former reality star said he was grateful that Mateo was able to grow up doing the same things he did as a child. "Certainly, it has been insightful these last 4 years in a lot of ways, both materially, learning equipment operation, my own growing style, the systems for farming, etc., and retrospectively. What is the farm without a TV crew? What can the farm be without TV?" Jacob continued. The Dad of One revealed that pumpkin season was still huge for Roloff Farms and expressed his appreciation for the loyal customers that still came year after year. However, Jacob ultimately wanted to encourage a more localized community space instead of so heavily relying on out-of-town tourism, and create an intermittent space for community gathering, creating useful things, and being a useful space. He concluded his message by adding, "I am grateful for the opportunity to be where I am to steward this land the best I can. Always learning and growing. I can only hope we have this farm for another generation." Jacob's words came just days after Isabel slammed her father-in-law, Matt Roloff, when she said she and her husband couldn't afford to fully buy it from Matt, in a TikTok video posted on March 27. Fans rushed to the comments with their own harsh words for the Roloff patriarch. 63 Jacob deserves the land, as do all the kids. I hope TLC still pays the kids for reruns. People totally watch the show because of the kids, one TikTok user wrote, referring to Jacob and his siblings Zach Roloff, Jeremy Roloff, and Molly Roloff. Isabel replied, "They definitely do not pay the kids for reruns, haha." Another person commented, "If I had all that land, I'd just give it to my kids. I'd rather keep it in the family than sell it to a random person who will have no sentimental value in it." Isabel then responded, "We all feel the same way, lol." Fans of Little People, Big World likely know that Jacob, Zach, 34, and Jeremy, 34, all wanted to purchase Roloff Farms from their father, but he decided to put a portion of the land up for sale. In May 2022, Matt listed the property for $4 million, and the decision led to a feud between himself and Zach's wife, Tori Roloff. After Zach and Tori, 33, moved to Washington, since then, Matt has gone back and forth, putting the farm on the market and then taking it off. In February 2024, he announced his plans to leave the property to his ex-wife, Amy Roloff. Little People Big World Roloff wife's shocking farm allegations. With Little People Big World off the air, there is still a lot of interest among fans regarding the family members and the fate of Roloff Farms. Recently, one of the Roloff wives came forth with some shocking farm tea. So what did she have to say as Little People Big World fans remember? The Roloff Farms drama and the discussion surrounding who would take over the family legacy once Matt Roloff decided to hang it up played out like something out of Game of Thrones, minus all the bloodshed and violence. The botched farm deal to sell a portion of the farm to Zach Roloff and Jeremy Roloff ended up dead in the water, and it resulted in some hurt feelings as Zach Roloff took it extremely hard. It was bad enough that Zach and Tori moved their family to their own property, and things between him and Matt have not been the same since all of this has been going on. The fate of Roloff Farms has still been a huge topic of discussion among Little People Big World fans. There were a lot of signs pointing to Jacob Roloff, Matt's youngest son, inheriting the keys to the castle, so to speak. As Little People Big World fans who have been keeping up with updates have seen, Jacob Roloff has been working the farm, and his family has been living on it as well. So, at least from the outside looking in, Jacob is putting in the work to keep himself and his family in the running, with a lot of Little People Big World fans still interested in the fate of Roloff Farms. Isabel Roloff recently came forward with some shocking allegations about the farm. In a recent update on social media, someone online asked her if she and Jacob had any plans to take over the farm. In response to this, she said, "We can't afford to fully buy it from Matt, but we do love living here while we can, and Jacob takes good care of it." In addition, even though Isabel did not respond to some fan comments directly, she did heart react to comments and clap for one of the two. So it's a subtle way of conveying how she feels about the situation without actually saying anything. One of the comments reads, "I keep saying the kids paid for that farm. Paul only watched because of the kids. They paid for it with their childhoods." The second comment reads, "What's the point of building generational wealth if you're just going to keep it from the people you built it for?" With how Isabel tells it, Jacob Roloff seems like a hired hand at this point, without any legitimate stake in the future of the farm. So it will be interesting to see if things remain that way, or if things eventually change. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.